In this video, I will show you how you can build an interactive map using Amazon Location Service as the base map provider and MapLibre GLJS as the map rendering engine. We're going to build something like this, an interactive map with a set of base maps that you can choose from, a layer control, a navigation control, and a marker with pop-up information. You can use this project as a starting point for building a web map and customize it to display your stores, real estate properties, or places you have visited on an interactive map. Create an AWS account if you don't have one already, and let's dive right in. The first step is to create your map resources. Amazon Location Service offers a set of map styles professionally designed to support different applications and use cases. We'll create a few map styles so that we can try them in our app later on. We'll go to the Amazon Location console and select Maps. On the Maps page, we'll choose Create Map. We'll add a name and a description for the new map resource. We'll use Esri Navigation for the name of the first map resource. We'll choose Esri Navigation as a map style and then agree to the Amazon Location terms and conditions and choose Create Map. We have now created our first map. Let's repeat the steps and create 4 more maps. For the second map, we're going to use Here Explore Truck. For the third, Here Berlin. The fourth, Esri Light Gray Canvas. And finally, Esri Imagery. The second step is to grant access to the map resources that we just created. We'll do that by creating an Amazon Cognito identity pool and an IAM policy. This way, a front-end application can send signed HTTP requests to Amazon Cognito and receive credentials that are valid for an hour. Then it can use those credentials to fetch map tiles from Amazon Location Services Maps API and render them in the browser. Let's create an Amazon Cognito identity pool. We'll go to the Amazon Cognito console and select Create New Identity Pool. Note that your Amazon Cognito identity pool and Amazon Location Services resources must be in the same AWS region, for example, US West 2. On the top right corner, there is a section called Start from your business case. From the dropdown, we'll choose Grant Access to AWS Services and choose Create Identity Pool. We'll enter a name for our identity pool. From the Unauthenticated Identities section, we'll choose Enable Access to Unauthenticated Identities, and we'll choose Create Pool. Here, we need to create IAM roles that we want to use with our identity pool. Expand View Details, and you'll see 2 sections. First section is for creating an IAM role for authenticated identities, and the second one is for creating an IAM role for unauthenticated identities. Under the second section, we'll expand the View Policy Document section and then choose Edit to add our policy. We'll add this policy to grant access to our map resources. Finally, we'll choose Allow to create our identity pool. Now that we have created our backend resources, let's set up our project locally. Create an empty HTML file, call it index.html, and open it up in your favorite IDE. Next, let's add a few dependencies. We'll add MapLibre GL for rendering the map and map controls. We'll add AWS SDK for JavaScript for getting credentials from Amazon Cognito. And we'll add AWS Amplify core library for signing HTTP requests using AWS SigV4. Now let's create a new folder called IMG in our project root directory. We'll download the images from this repository and put them in the IMG folder. The next step is to add auth configurations. First, we'll enter our Cognito Identity Pool ID and configure our AWS region. Then we'll instantiate a credential provider using the Cognito Identity Pool we created earlier. Next, we'll add a function to automatically renew credentials before they expire. Finally, we'll add a function to sign the HTTP requests sent to the Amazon Location Services Maps API using AWS SigV4 with the credentials obtained from Amazon Cognito. MapLibre GLJS map instances include a transform request option, which we'll use later on to modify the map tiles requests before they're made. The next step is to add a map. To do that, let's add a div container for the map. MapLibre GLJS will render all map-related HTML elements, such as the map canvas and map controls including navigation controls and attributions within this container. Then we'll add some CSS to produce a full screen map. Next, we'll call the refresh credentials function to obtain the credentials when the page first loads and schedule the next credential refresh when they're about to expire. Finally, we'll add a new map instance. You can change the values for center and zoom to adjust your initial map view. Now, if you save your project and open the HTML file in your browser, you'll see an interactive map on the page. Next, we'll add navigation controls to show zoom buttons and a compass on the map. Then, we'll add a marker with pop-up information. Now, if you save your project, your map should look like this. The next step is to add a layer control. The layer control will consist of 5 cards, each representing a map style, used for switching between different map styles. To do that, first, we'll add some HTML to our code to create the layer control elements. Then, we'll add some CSS to style the layer control. Finally, we'll add some logic to the code so that when you click on a map style, the app will change the base map accordingly. Now our app has a layer control that you can use to switch between different map styles. Now we have an interactive map that has a layer control with 5 professionally designed base maps, navigation controls, and markers and pop-ups. You can use this project as a starting point for building web maps and customize it to fit your purpose. You can also add more things to it. For example, you can add more markers to highlight your favorite hiking trails, advertise your rental properties, or display your stores on a map. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something from it. I also wrote a blog on this topic. Check it out and let me know if you have any questions or comments. Until next time.